Okay, let me begin by introducing one of our great supporters, and let me say this, it's going to be difficult to say the word great because everyone here is great tonight. The people who have supported us. And Larry Pressler was there early for us, a great senator in the United States Senate. Larry Pressler represents the great state of South Dakota. He's a Republican, but today we love Republicans and Democrats because we know Tom Lantos is a great Democrat, and there's one great Republican, and that's America. You can be what you want to be here. When we first met Larry Pressler, we knew after one meeting that he was someone who would stand up for us in tough times, and that's what Albanians need. We don't need fair weather standards. We need people who are tough when we need them to be there because our issue is a tough issue. We have formidable enemies. We have a great propaganda machine in Belgrade today. So we need good, tough people. And let me tell you, when we found Larry Pressler, we found someone tough. And if you don't believe it, just go back to that videotape the day he was there on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee when they were confirming Eagleburger, as you remember, for the State Department, and we needed someone to ask a tough question, and he asked at least 3 tough questions for the Albanians for the record. And you remember what Senator Eagleburger said when asked about Mr. Milosevic. He says, yes, he is dangerous. And he knew the Albanians were being persecuted. So with that, let me introduce a great friend, a great senator, a great American, Senator Larry Pressler.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I am just thrilled to be a part of this evening. Those of us who have stood together on this issue know how important it is that each of you are here. And I might say to you, to each and every one of you, that it's very important that you are here, because you are supporting your civic league. You are making a contribution. To those of us in the Senate who work on this issue, we do it because of our commitment to human rights. And one of the great problems in the world today in human rights is occurring in the province of Kosova. And every chance I get, I raise that issue in the United States Senate. One thing... And let me say that I'm very honored to sit by the head of your Democratic Alliance this evening and to get acquainted with him. I see that Mrs. Lantos has arrived. Congressman Lantos, a dear friend of mine, even though we're of opposite parties, we've worked at this. And let me say to Congressman Joe DioGuardi, he has been one of the great leaders. He has guided me in this effort through the years, and I look to him for leadership. To Jimmy Jama, who has been a leader on the Executive Committee, to Rex Jokley, who has been a real leader, to Harry Baraktari, who has been a great leader, to Sashir Gashir. They've all been great leaders. But all of you, by being here, are helping us out. Now, let me explain to you that in the Senate of the United States, we have many diverse interests worldwide. But every time that a Secretary of State or Undersecretary of State comes before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, on which I serve, I raise the issues of Kosova, what is going on there in human rights. And I think that one of the great causes in human rights in the world today is to help the oppressed people in that province. It's very easy for us to forget about people who are far away. It's very easy for us in our prosperity to forget people who are disadvantaged. And it's very easy to forget people who we don't have an immediate cry from. I know in states such as New York, maybe there are a larger population. I do not have a large Albanian constituency. But I've been attracted to this issue because I think it's a classic issue of human rights. And all of you, by being here, are making a contribution. By your presence here, you are helping me in the Senate of the United States. By your presence here, you are helping Tom Lantos and El D'Amato and the many other people who are working on this issue. I have brought with me, in conclusion, I might say, a resolution that we have introduced in the Senate of the United States. It's Senate Concurrent Resolution 124, relating to the human rights violations against the Albanian minority in Yugoslavia. And it's co-sponsored by Senator Pell, by Senator Dole, my colleague, and by myself, Senator Pressler. And it has been submitted to the Foreign Relations Committee. And it's another effort to highlight the issue in Washington, D.C., because it's important in Congress that we achieve this. It's important that we put pressure on the State Department. And I put pressure on the State Department every chance I get when they're in hearings, when they come before our committee. But I will continue to listen to you. And this turnout tonight has inspired me. Your presence here, your being here, has made an impression on my mind. I must travel off to another city later this evening because I'm campaigning for re-election and I'm very tied up in my airplane schedules. But this evening will stay in this senator's mind. It's an issue I've worked on, but every one of you, through your contributions, through your being here tonight, make a difference. I'm going to present these. I am now going to present to my friend Joe DioGuardi Senate Concurrent Resolution 124 relating to the human rights violation against the Albanian minority in Yugoslavia. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're going to do Congress.
Okay. Great. We're going to win.
Yes. When we needed another tough voice in the Senate, we knew well where to look, because we heard how this great senator has stood up for so many causes, and recently you saw him in Lithuania. But he was there for us way, way in the beginning, because when I started talking about our issue as a new congressman, and when I needed support in the Senate, I didn't know Senator Pressler at that time, but I knew Senator D'Amato. And he's here today to tell you how strongly he feels about freedom and democracy in Kosova, and he made a very, very great statement for us at our hearing. Let's give a wonderful welcome to Senator Alphonse D'Amato.
It's a great honor. It's a great honor, my friends, for Alfonso Marcello D'Amato, the son of Italianos, to be here to pay tribute to a fighter and a champion on behalf of democracy. And I want to tell you, my friends, I'm a conservative Republican, but I have to tell you, there is no greater champion than the man that you honor tonight. He's a Democrat, some may say liberal, but when it comes to freedom, freedom for people and human rights, Congressman Tom Lantos is second to none. my friends, some come and go, but I will assure you of one person and his commitment day in and day out. And he comes here from Washington via California with his beautiful wife, Annette. And Annette, we thank you for being a great part of the Congressman and being with him every step of the way. Dr. Rugova, what can I say about you? My friends, you should know, and the world should know, that there are few who will put the cause of justice and human rights, the right for people to be whatever, the right to be and to live without the fear of discrimination and persecution, and who put their whole being and their intellect and their whole person behind it. Dr. Rugova, we salute you for your fight for freedom, for human rights. My friends, let me ask you to give me 60 seconds, and I ask you to think about what I'm going to tell you, and if you could bring some sort of, and I appreciate your enthusiasm, your fervor, but if you could bring a little silence. In 60 seconds, I'm going to share a thought with you. If we are to bring freedom and a hope and an opportunity for justice to people, to Albanians who seek that in Kosova today, to those who yearn for freedom wherever they may be, to live without fear of persecution because of their ethnic roots and culture that they want to keep enshrined, then, my friends, the United States of America and you, the Albanian American Civic League, must be successful. The beacon of freedom comes from the United States of America, and we have a duty never, whether it be in Albania, whether it be in Yugoslavia, we were fighting for Albanian rights, whether it be in Lithuania, wherever it be, the United States of America can never be second and must be first, standing for freedom. And let me say, it takes extraordinary people. It takes people like Jimmy Jama. It takes people like Congressman Joe DioGuardi, whether in office or out of office, to challenge the system, to say to America and to its leaders, don't forget, because we have democracy doesn't mean that we can forget others who are behind and who are enslaved. And today, the United States of America and its people, unfortunately, too often say, what are they doing over there? Why are those Albanians creating trouble? They should keep quiet. Don't they know they're disturbing tranquility? We're making progress. And I'd have to ask those of us who have the temerity to say that, how dare you say that people who seek freedom should keep quiet? We should always stand for freedom. That's what this country's about. Thank you, Tom. And let me say to you, if you care for your brothers and sisters in Kosova, then you must see to it that you make that cause of freedom, wherever it stands, wherever it needs help, one that we all embrace, so that the politicians of this country have the courage not to look at the polls, but to look at what's right and what's just, and not worry about public opinion. Let me conclude by saying that we should galvanize our strength and say to those in public office, be sure to use our taxpayers' dollars in a meaningful way. And if Yugoslavia wants aid from the World Bank, then we want freedom for Albanians and for everyone. Thank you, and God bless you.
I'd like to bring up Father Arthur Lyland to do the invocation.
O Perëndi I shenjtë, krijonjes I tërë botës dhe I të gjithë popullit që banon në hijen tënde, ca prej nesh të thëresin Allah, e ca të quajnë Jezu Krisht, po të gjithë jemi bitë e bija të tua. Shqerë syrin prej kjellit edhe shiko, vëllezërit e motrat tona, kosovarët të kryqësuar, dhe shpëtoj me mëshirën tënde të madhe. Unë gjim kokën, mendjen dhe krahët përpara teje o Zot, dhe bindemi pas mëshirës tënde. Në kohën e ngjalljes tënde të Pashkës dhe të kremtimin e Ramadanin, u lutemi hapi sytë e kundërshtarëve tanë, zbuti zemrat e atyre që na urejnë, forconi ndërgjegjen e gjitha atyre që punojnë për liri dhe demokraci në çdo vend. Këshilloni udhëheqësit, drejtoni zyrtarët, frymëzoni shkrimtarët, ngushëlloni të hidhurit. Pranoni sakrificat e gjithë shërbëtorët e tu, bëj ata që derdhin lot të gëzohen. Le të fitojmë të drejtat njerëzore me nder dhe gjakftotësi, duke jetuar me fëmijët tanë në qetësi dhe lumturi. Shembulli I Amerikës sot na ushqen si popull me prejardhje të ndryshëm, pimë një ujë, lindim nga një qift, ngrohemi çdo ditë nga një diell, shtrihemi natën në një hënës, hymë në një dhe, brez pas brezi, presim një jetë të pasosur prej teje o I lartë. O krijonjes, jemi mbledhur këtu sonte bashkëtetarë dhe miq, katolik, musliman dhe ortodoks, tre dega të një trupi, fara fis prej një gjak dhe një gjuhë, frymëzuar prej një shpirti, shqipetarë, një popull I vogël po I fortë, munduar po jo dëshpëruar, prejardhje të vjetër po vajza dhe djemtër I ngjallur, histori kreshnik por me ko ardhje shpresë plotë. Të gjonani o Zot, ngrenani dhe bekoni ne të gjithët që të lypim sot, tani dhe për herë dhe në jetët e jetëve. Amin. Krishti u ngjall dhe gëzuar Ramadan.
You know, freedom is a very precious commodity. Thomas Paine, 200 years ago, when this great country was being born, much like Kosova is being reborn today for freedom, Thomas Paine, in his crisis papers, said it best when he said, "These are the times that try men's souls." We have new Thomas Paines today, new Thomas Jeffersons, new George Washingtons, new Skanderbegs. We have people like Congressman Tom Lantos. Congressman Tom Lantos and his beautiful wife Annette know tyranny. They fled from the Nazi concentration camps. They're ethnic Hungarian Jews, and they know it was Raoul Wallenberg that saved him. He knows tyranny. He knows what it means to be without freedom, and he's never forgotten it once. And he was a great professor. He has his PhD. And now the United States of America is so lucky to have someone with the background of Tom Lantos. And when you get Tom, you get Annette. Let's say hello to Tom Lantos.
There are great moments in history. It was just a few months ago that Annette and I were at the Berlin Wall after it crumbled, and we chiseled a little bit of that wall of tyranny to bring it home to our grandchildren. And I remember many years ago, a young American president stood by that wall and said, "Ich bin ein Berliner. I am a citizen of Berlin." And he meant by that he identified with the people suppressed by tyranny and the police state, and he was one of them. Tonight, Annette and I are telling you that we are deeply grateful for the privilege of being at this historic evening. And if you'll allow us, tonight we feel like Albanians. Before I tell you about a few very serious matters, allow me to say a word about a few people who are here tonight and who mean so much to me. Just for the record, Annette is not my daughter, she is my wife. And she has been for 40 years, and we are immensely proud of our 2 daughters, one of whom you will meet in a minute, and of our 12 grandchildren. And I must say, I am so grateful to her that in all of our human rights efforts for Kosovo and for Tibet and for Lithuania and for all the other places, she has been a full partner, and I can't begin to express my appreciation to her. And let me just introduce quickly 3 members of our burgeoning family. I wonder if you could come up while I say a few words about you, because they can't see you in the back. Would you mind, Katrina and Dick? And if the baby is not sound asleep, can you come on up here so we can see you? They're coming.
Hello, Katrina.
Take the other seat. It's very hard to realize, particularly for those of you who are young, most of you are very young, there are a few of us who have been around for a few years, that it doesn't seem so long ago when I was holding her like this in my arms, and she's now the proud mother of 5. It's almost like a good Albanian family. Katrina has 5, and our other daughter, Annette, has 7. So between them... And let me introduce 2 very special people. They belong to different political parties, but my admiration for them is equal, because they have chosen to put themselves on the line. I happen to be a Democrat, and Tom Christo happens to be a Republican, but I am proud. Stand up, Tom. I am proud as an American and as a member of Congress that an ethnic Albanian is running for the United States Senate, and I hope to be around to see ethnic Albanians in the House and in the Senate in large numbers. So Tom Christo, I salute you for your courage, for your commitment, and for your dedication. And then there is another young man who is running for the Congress. He happens to be a Democrat, and he happens to be Katrina's husband, Dick. So Dick... And long after I'm gone, in Dick there will be a fighter for human rights, and someone who will celebrate a free Kosovo. Kosovo Republic, 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 Kosovo Republic. Well, you are reading my mind, because every single time I meet with a high official of the Yugoslav government, I make a very simple and a very rational case, which I want to make here tonight. Is there any reason why one of the largest ethnic groups in Yugoslavia should not have its own full-fledged Republican status? And when that republic becomes a reality, and notice I didn't say if, I said when that republic becomes a reality, the heroes who have given their lives for the Albanian people, whom we honored at the beginning of this evening, our marvelous friends from Kosovo, who will be speaking shortly, and the leadership of the American Albanian community will deserve enormous credit for bringing this about, and I would like to name all of them, from Jimmy Jame on down. I would like to name all of our friends from Kosovo, beginning with my dear friend with whom Annette and I had an unforgettable morning, Dr. Rigova. But let me just say a word about my very dear friend, about the man who, with his dynamism, vision, courage, determination, eloquence, commitment, has brought about what to an outsider looks like a miracle. Let me pay tribute to Congressman Joe DioGuardi. He and I share a lot. His parents came over as penniless immigrants, and I'm so glad, Mrs. DioGuardi, you're here with us, and we salute you and honor you. I only wish I only wish Joe's father could be here to share in the joy of this evening. Let me say to you that while the DioGuardis were not very wealthy people, they were penniless immigrants, they gave Joe priceless treasures, a set of values, the work ethic, commitment to family, commitment to community, a pride of being an Albanian American, and look what he has done with it. DioGuardi. There is a lot I could tell about Joe. You would be very proud of all of it. But there is only one little thing I want to tell you. Because the measure of a man and the measure of a woman is not what he does for his own family. It is not even what he does for his own people. But the measure of a man, a measure of a woman, is what he does for people who are not his own people. The man who saved my life was a Christian Swede who sacrificed his life for the sake of people who were suppressed and persecuted. And I want to tell you that in our joint work for human rights, in the Human Rights Caucus and in the Human Rights Foundation, you should have seen this Albanian American tiger fight for the people of Tibet, with whom he has nothing in common except their humanity. So, Joe, on behalf of the Congressional Human Rights Foundation, because this certainly does not belong to me, but it belongs to a cause, Annette and I are thrilled to accept this because it will inspire all of us with these two beautiful soaring eagles, the Albanian and the American eagle, to continue our fight for human rights. And now to business, some serious business. We had a 5-hour hearing of the Congressional Human Rights Caucus earlier this week, which was the most remarkable hearing in the entire history of that caucus, because we saw presented by some of the people here at the table, and you witnessed, many of you, the story of the suppression of the people of the Kosovo. I must tell you, I found it very interesting that Mr. Vlasi and 13 others were freed just the day of our hearing. It reminded Annette and me of a meeting we had with the Czechoslovak ambassador about a year ago when Václav Havel was in jail, and I told the Czech ambassador, Havel better be let out of jail within 48 hours because great troubles will come, and Havel was let out of jail, and he is now the president of Czechoslovakia. It was on so many occasions It was on so many occasions when the leaders of solidarity were in prison and in hiding that we talked to the Polish ambassador and talked about Lech Walesa and what a joy it was for us to receive as a guest of the Congress in joint session assembled that electrician from Dansk who taught us what it means to be a free man. So let me say to you, your friends in the Congress will not rest until every single Kosovar lives as freely in the Kosovo as he would in New York or Massachusetts or any place. So, Joe, I don't have a gift of beauty to give you, but I have something which perhaps in a symbolic way soars like an eagle. It soars like the Albanian eagle. I will not read it, it's very long. I worked hard on it, and on April 26th of this year, 2 days ago, I introduced Resolution 314 in the House of Representatives, expressing the sense of the Congress regarding human rights violations against the Albanian ethnic minority in southern Yugoslavia. It is 2 pages, and I think I have enough copies here, one for every single family. And Joe, if you'll allow me, this is my gift to you and to everybody here tonight. Joe and I have been planning a few other things that I want to tell you about. I remember as a young boy reading about a great Albanian hero, Skanderberg, and I found every book in the library about him. He inspired me so much, I admired him so much. So let me announce tonight that we are beginning this evening the process of having a Skanderberg statue erected in our nation's capital. This evening I would also like to announce that a few days ago I had a conference call with 2 people, the ambassador of the United States to Yugoslavia, Ambassador Zimmerman, and with the head of the United States Information Agency, Mr. Gelb. And I told them that I will not rest until a full-fledged U.S. governmental diplomatic office is established in Pristina. we have full-fledged embassies in countries with a fraction of the population, the ethnic Albanian population of Yugoslavia. It is long overdue. It is long overdue that an official American office be established in Pristina, not as a favor to the Albanian people in the Kosovo, but as a recognition of their importance.
Land toast, land toast, land toast.
We had a few victories lately. The state of emergency was lifted. Some prisoners were allowed to come out. Some of our guests tonight, who a few weeks ago probably would not have been here, are here, and we are grateful for that. Some, however, were not allowed to come, as we all know. So let me just conclude by pledging you that we are not going to go away until this struggle is won. And long after, the people who suppress the ethnic Albanians in Yugoslavia will have been cast out into the dustbin of history. Long after the tyrants' names will have been forgotten, there will be free, proud, successful Albanians in New York and in Pristina and everywhere, and we will be able to say a great and ancient nation will have been reborn. God bless you all.
Land toast, land toast, land toast, land toast, land toast, land toast.
Did you see this beautiful thing? It's for you. Now down the back, and you'll get this.
Let me take this opportunity to also, on your behalf, thank Mrs. Lantos Annette for all that she does, because I have seen her at work in that office. She's not there because she is Mrs. Lantos. She's there because she feels as strongly about the work that she does for human rights as does Tom. And I want to present her with some roses on your behalf. Say a few words.
Thank you so much. This is a memorable evening for all of us. I really feel that something very new and very wonderful was born here, and it was a privilege to be part of it. Thank you.
Well, let's continue with the program. And I'd like to start off by introducing a very special person who will introduce Dr. Rugova. The board of the Albanian American Civic League and Foundation is very lucky to have the diversity of the members that you see up here that are on that board. We do not agree on everything. We are Albanians, and you can't agree on everything when you're Albanians. You know that. But I think we've learned to grow, and we've become democratic. And you know something? We vote on important things. And it's amazing to me that people who feel as strongly as they do agree when we do vote and they lose to follow what the board wants. That is democracy. Everybody can't have it their way and have democracy. It doesn't exist. As a matter of fact, when you elect somebody, they don't get 100% of the vote. Sometimes they get one vote over 50%, and yet they have to represent everybody. That is the American way. That is true democracy. And tolerance is required. And that's what Kosova, I'm sure, will learn through Dr. Rugova. But one of the members, and each one, and I could praise every one of them, but there's not enough time tonight to do that. But we all voted today at a board meeting at my home that lasted 3 hours. And we said if there's anyone else that deserves this platform besides myself, and believe me, I think I deserve it a lot less than many of the people on that board who struggled for Kosovo a lot more before I did. But if there's anyone who deserves it tonight, because of the time constraints, it's Dr. Sami Rapishti. And I want to just say a few words about Dr. Rapishti, and I could go on and read 3 pages, but I'm going to read you a paragraph. He's a native of Albania. His father was a former congressman, a victim of the fascist police, and his 17-year-old first cousin was executed while in a convoy of Albanian prisoners and Albanian Jews going to the Mauthausen Nazi camp. After World War II, at the age of 21, Sami was arrested and given a 15-year sentence for opposing the Communist Party monopoly and the Albanian policies on Kosovo. After 14 months of investigation and harsh treatment and 10 years in prison labor camps, Sami Rapishti escaped to Yugoslavia and sought political refuge. But instead of political refuge, he was again jailed in a solitary cell for 11 months. In 1960, he escaped from Yugoslavia too, and after having passed through Italy, he emigrated to the United States of America in 1962. In the United States, Dr. Rapishti received his Bachelor of Arts, his Master of Arts, and his PhD, his doctorate, in French. He was also awarded 6 scholarships, including a full-year study abroad at the Sorbonne University in Paris. Presently, he is an adjunct professor of French at Adelphi University and chairman of the Foreign Language Department for the Malvern Public School on Long Island. He's married to his wonderful, lovely wife, Diana. They have 2 children, Darren, a medical student at Syracuse University, and Ava Dawn, who will be enrolling in a pre-law program next September. Dr. Rapishti is a perfect example of how much the United States means to freedom-loving people. And it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Rapishti to introduce Dr. Rugova. Sami?
Mr. Chairman, Mrs. DioGuardi, the Honorable Congressman Lantos, Mrs. Lantos, the next Senator of Hampshire, Tom Christo, the next Congressman of Hampshire, Dick Speed, distinguished Albanian guests from Kosovo, ladies and gentlemen, Mir Mrama. The Albanian American Civil League and the Educational Foundation is grateful to see you here en masse this evening. The members of the Executive Board and myself are also very grateful to our President, the Honorable Joseph J. DioGuardi, for having taken us so far and with so little to have accomplished so much. This is definitely a most memorable evening in the history of Albanian American community. We are honored by several American legislators. Some of the most representative voices of Kosovo democratic movement are among us, and over 2,500 guests have joined together to pay tribute to the birth of democracy in Kosovo. After 45 years of confrontations, it appears that the world is no safer for the coming generations, hopefully for Kosovo too. Several years ago, I saw Mr. Elie Wiesel, the Holocaust survivor, holding his son in his arms. I was struck by the thought that the man who lost everything during the war had found enough courage to start again. It was a victory of life over death. I believe that the greatest and deepest hope for resurrection is found among those who suffer the most. Maybe a divine manifestation of human resolve to overcome and to succeed. Today, I perceive the changes in Kosovo and the birth of democracy in the midst of the ashes caused by 45 years of suffering under communist dictatorship as another form of the same victory, as man's liberation from the deadly forces that attempt to annihilate him. Democracy needs pioneers who are challenged by the promise of a better future. This is the way I see our guest from Kosovo. Tonight, pioneers, in Robert Frost's words, they took the road less traveled by. Among them, there is a modest and yet superb human being whose enlightened humility escapes nobody's attention. Educator, writer, literary critic, and most importantly, a humanitarian with deep beliefs in human dignity. A man whose name inspires people around his country and abroad. A burning torch in the midst of darkness, a great promise for the future. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel especially privileged to introduce to you the modern version of Mahatma Gandhi, the wise man of Kosovo, Dr. Ibrahim Rugova.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Ne kemi ardhur nga atje dhe nuk kemi kohë shumë atje që të përgatisim dhe të marrim fjalë se po duhet të punojmë dhe të zgjidhim çështjet dhe problemet. Sonte jemi të buar këtu shqiptarët nga të gjitha viset shqiptare dhe jemi së bashku me një qëllim që të mbrojmë të drejtat dhe lirit e shqiptarëve në Kosovë, në Jugosllavi dhe me qëllimin e vetëm që Kosova ta ketë demokracinë dhe të gjitha atributet që asaj duhen, autonomia, pavarësia dhe natyrisht urdhani, më falni. Edhe për atë, ju lutem, është një edhe për atë do të kërkojmë edhe do të shqyrtojmë mundësitë e gjitha ato dhe ajo është një kërkesë e gjithë popullit dhe nuk mund ta injoroj askush. Ju lutem. Mos të bëjmë dialog. Po them edhe njerë jemi mbledhur shqiptarët nga gjitha viset shqiptare që sonte më lejoni të falenderojmë në mënyrë speciale Congressmanin ton Lentos, zonjën Anjet Lentos, pastaj të gjithë kongresmenet dhe senatorët e Kongresit dhe të Senatit Amerikan, siç janë Pressler, Dole, Pell, Amato e të tjerë, të cilët vërtet kanë bërë që çështja e Kosovës dhe çështja e shqiptarëve të ndihet kudo në botë. Vetëm edhe një kujtim nga historia se këta senator, kongresmen dhe Kongresi Amerikan vazhdojnë traditën të cilën e patë filluar kryetari Wilson në vitet 20, i cili u angazhua për pavarësinë e shqiptarëve, por i cili për fat të keq atëherë nuk pati sukses, sepse atëherë Amerika kishte hyrë të bëhej fuqi e madhe me fuqi të mëdha evropiane. Edhe njëherë një falënderim të madh për të gjithë dhe në mënyrë speciale për zot Rilentosin dhe familjen e tij. Po ashtu edhe njerë, ju të gjithë që jeni këtu dhe që jetoni në Amerikë dhe nga viset tjera, sidomos shqiptarët e Amerikës, edhe ju sot e vazhdoni traditën e atyre e shqiptarëve të Amerikës, të cilët më parë ishin të bashkuar në Boston, e tash edhe në viset e tjera, dhe një falënderim të madh edhe në emër të Lidhjes Demokratike të Kosovës edhe të kolegëve të cilët kemi ardhur së bashku, na keni ftuar të jemi këtu dhe na keni mundësuar së bashku me Kongresin Amerikan të themi të gjitha të vërtetat mbi Kosovën dhe ne nuk na u desh shumë të flasim, po vetëm të përmendim të vërtetat, sepse ato flasin vetë dhe mendoj kështu dëpërtuan ato më mirë në botë, edhe nga ky altar, pra nga i vend i demokracisë dhe mendimet e lirë dhe i mbrojtjes së drejtave të njeriut. Edhe një porosit e vogël, Kosovës sot i duhet mbi të gjitha paqja, demokracia, liria, bashkëpunimi me të gjithë popujt dhe Kosova të hapet dhe të jetë e lidhur me Evropën, me Shtetet e Bashkuara dhe me vendet e tjera, dhe natyrisht të gjithë shqiptarët, kudo që ndodhen, të kenë mundësi të jenë në trojet e tyre dhe të zgjedhin ku duan të jetojnë, dhe natyrisht gjithnjë të jenë të lidhur me vendin e vetë, se kjo është një mënyrë më e mirë dhe më e fortë që ata edhe të ndihmojnë Kosovës edhe viseve tjera shqiptare edhe të ndihen si shqiptarë. Dhe po ashtu edhe një dëshirë që kudo që janë shqiptarë, të gjithë, edhe pse do të kemi dallime në pikpamje në çështje, ne duhet mësohemi të jetojmë me pluralizmin, por pluralizmi duhet kuptuar që gjërat, sendet t'i bëjmë më mirë, e kurse si të shkatrojmë, sepse janë disa gjëra të shenjta në këtë jetë, siç janë atdheu, vendi, pastaj liria, paqja, që janë fundamentale dhe aty nuk guxojmë të prekim asnjëri, por ato duhet t'i përparojmë dhe t'i çojmë tutje. Kjo është një porosi personale dhe mendoj se është një kërkesë e kohës që duhet të mësohemi të jetojmë. E ju jeni shembull që e keni dëshmuar këtë edhe me këtë mbrëmje sante, edhe me gjitha aktet dhe ato që i keni bërë deri tash për Kosovën dhe për shqiptarët në përgjithësi. Ju falenderoj për të gjitha dhe miru pafshim. Dhe nëse më lejoni edhe një harrova të them edhe ta falenderojmë Ligën Qytetare Shqiptare Amerikane, e cila është njëra nga organizatorët e këtij tubimi dhe të ftesës sonë në Kongres, në krye me zotin DioGuardi, pastaj me Gjimin e me të tjerët dhe me të gjithë ju, se këta pa ju nuk do të kishin mund të bëjnë asgjë. Faleminderit.
Thank you, Dr. Rogova.
Faleminderit shumë. Now, someone played a little game here, I don't know, but this evening, when we started this, there was a chair in the front of this podium, and the chair was empty. It was the chair that I put there for Dr. Zekeri Etsana, who should be here tonight. And he wasn't allowed to be here. You know why? They deprived him of one of his most basic human rights. They took his passport away because they know how effective he is. They did not want him to come to the hearing. They did not want him to speak here tonight. And in spite of the letters that Tom Lantos sent, and Larry Pressler, and Senator Dole, and Bill Broomfield, and so many other great senators, and many of them sent these letters, Milosevic still was bold enough, and that's why he's not going to give up, and it's not going to be easy. This is a great evening. Shh. We must be organized, and we will win. But the point is, he had the nerve, the absolute unmitigated gall to not give Dr. Tsana his passport, and we left the ticket at the airport thinking that he'd fly here even today. They still wouldn't give him his passport. That's the kind of human rights violations, deprivation that exists in Yugoslavia today. They deprived this man, the head of the Committee for the Defense of Human Rights, to do what he knows how to do best, and that is to come over here to present the case. And I saw that 14-page memo he gave me when I was in Kosova in his apartment, his home. Look at the new issue of the newsletter. You're going to get copies tonight. Many of you received it in the mail, but each one of you, we brought 5,000 copies, will get it. And look at that picture of me and Dr. Tsana. He is an unbelievably enthusiastic, wonderful person who believes in you and wanted to be here, but could not be. And someone took the chair that we left for him, and maybe someone should find the chair and put it back, because we honor him here today, even though he's not here. And you know that. I would normally right now introduce Professor Recep Çosa, because I know he is someone special, and Professor Ayedi, okay? But I think that they will forgive me if I introduce someone first who came here to represent Dr. Zekeri Etsana, who gave a wonderful statement at the hearing. Someone who works very closely with him. He's going to make his own statement, but I'm going to bring him up to do both, to give you what Dr. Etsana wanted you to hear tonight from him, because he asked this gentleman to do it, and also to make his own statement. He speaks in perfect English as well as Albanian. I'm going to let him choose what he wants to speak in. We're not going to use interpreters, because if we do, we'll be here all morning. Is that a good decision? Okay. And many are going to speak in Albanian, and maybe he'll decide to speak in English, but whatever he's comfortable with, I'm going to let him do it. And let me now introduce a wonderful Kosovar. His name is Gosman Pula. He's a university professor. He's chairman of the Pristina branch of the Yugoslav Helsinki Committee, and he's also affiliated with the Committee for the Protection of Human Rights and Freedoms in Pristina. Let me introduce Dr. Pula. Professor Pula.
Bashkëdhetar të nderuar, zonja dhe zotëri, më lejoni t'ju përshëndes në emër të gjithë qytetarëve të Kosovës, ndonë se atë mandat se kemi, vetëm për përshëndetje është megjithatë e lejuar. Unë do t'ju drejtohem në anglisht, ndoshta nuk është më e qelluar, ndoshta nuk do t'ju pëlqejë gjithaq, megjithatë për shkak të mysafirëve tonë të nderuar, siç është zoti Congressman Tom Lantos, zonja e tij Annie Atlantos, dhe të gjithë kongresmenët dhe senatorët tjerë të cilët ishin prezent dhe të cilët e përkrahin kauzën tonë, megjithatë do të më lejoni, shpresoj se nuk do t'ju pengoj gjithashtu që të drejtohem në anglisht. Pastaj të tjerët kryesisht do të flasin shqip, prandaj megjithatë do ta kemi një prezantim të balancuar. Honorable Mr. Lantos, Congressman Lantos, Honorable Mrs. Lantos, Honorable Congressman DioGuardi, let me first express my deep gratitude and appreciation for your esteemed interest in the human rights all over the world, especially in Kosova, where they have been violated most dramatically and almost beyond comprehension for the standards of a civilized Europe. I will continue with a personal message from Mr. Zakaria Tsana, the Secretary of our Human Rights Committee. Thank you. Mr. Tsana, unfortunately, could not be with us today because his most basic human rights were once again violated by having his passport taken away by the Serbian authorities. He was charged with a notorious rubber paragraph 133 for carrying on hostile propaganda, a commonly used nonsense in Orthodox communist regimes. And why did they do this? They did it because they were obviously afraid that he could make a strong case about the flagrant human rights violations being systematically and consistently exercised by the authorities over the civil and innocent Albanian population. But Mr. Tsana's spirit is here with us tonight. And so is our committee's report and evidence, such as photographs, videotapes, and all the rest, about those violations on a day-by-day, name-by-name, blow-by-blow basis. And we're making the case of Kosova tonight instead. Mr. Tsana sends to all of you, honorable ladies and gentlemen, his best regards, his gratitude and appreciation for the extended invitation and the interest you've all shown in the heart of the great American nation. But then this brings us again to the question of why do such egregious human rights violations in Kosovo occur? The principal answer rests in the fact that due to the historical circumstances during the formation of newer Balkan nation, just about half of the ethnic Albanians were encompassed within the Kingdom of Serbia, respectively Yugoslavia. Ever since within that framework, they've been treated as foreign bodies into the majority Serbian national organism that threatens its interest, and they were accordingly to be eliminated from that soil forcefully or peacefully, officially or unofficially. The official policy, and even more so the actual governmental practice, carried on with repressive approach against the Albanians. Such an approach produced vast and most drastic violation of individual human rights. Albanians, not only in Kosovo and Yugoslavia in general, were subjected to countless violations of their individual human rights, which were meant and amounted to vast violations of their national rights as well. Countless cases can prove harsh violations of basic principles of the UN Charter, cases of violations of General Declaration about Human Rights, violations of international pacts about economic, social, cultural, and cultural rights, violations of international pacts about civic and political rights, violations of conventions related to discrimination in education, as well as a violation convention about the prevention and punishment of a crime such as genocide. Periods of fierce and less fierce violation of human rights of Albanians in Yugoslavia have changed on and off. One of the fiercest ones being in the 80s, during which, according to officially released figures, at least 75 Albanians were killed by brutal force interventions. Unofficially, unfortunately, the numbers are much higher. But nevertheless, the second-rate citizen treatment, which has ever since the beginning of the century, been tried and enforced over the Albanians in Yugoslavia, has definitely proved its bankruptcy. It couldn't have been different, because Albanians in Yugoslavia are not and will not be, according to all demographic and civilizational determinants, a minority, neither in relation to other nations in Yugoslavia, nor to the Albanians in Albania itself. The proportion of population in both states is about 1:1, whereas within the Yugoslav Federation, with about 2.4 million people, they are rated the third largest nationality. This fact is essential to the comprehension and the resolution of the Albanian issue in Yugoslavia. Therefore, we see the way to overcome the very evident problem in establishing the rule of law in Yugoslavia and Kosova, concerned with the genuine protection of human rights of all individuals in Kosovo and Yugoslavia, regardless of nationality and confession. This should be combined with international pressure that would influence Yugoslavia as a member state to observe and live up to the internationally accepted standards of human rights, which include the freedom of speech, freedom of political expression, free enterprise, and the rest of the features that amount to and promote the genuine European parliamentary democracy. With an integrated Europe, the interstate borders in Europe and Balkans will hopefully look the same as those in the great United States of America. That could and should also mean a specific resolution of the Albanian issue in Yugoslavia. But this is not to say that the establishment of a consistent and genuine constitutional status of Kosovo, which would equally provide for the national interests of Albanians in Yugoslavia, just as in the case of other nations of Yugoslavia, should not reach the same objective. It would, and it should. The course for reaching that objective of genuine equality in Kosovo and the human rights of its citizens in the Yugoslav Federation, regardless of nationality and confession, may prove to be difficult, but in the long run will be the only just, stable, and acceptable resolution of the Albanian issue. Genuine equality is the name of the game. Nothing more do we ask, but nothing less either. Thank you.
Well, we have, as I said, so many special guests. And the next one probably could have been introduced at the same time as Dr. Rugova. He is esteemed by so many of you who told me that he taught you at Pristina University. And this gentleman is the president of the Committee for the Protection of Human Rights and Freedoms in Pristina. He's an academician, he's a professor, he is a doctor, a PhD, and he's someone that is respected by everyone in this room, because I've heard your comments. And that's Dr. Idris Ayeti.
Ju keni ardhur këtu në Washington, në New York, nga cipet ndryshme të Amerikës, nga dhe silla nga Kanadaja dhe nga anët e largta të Australisë dhe të Zelandës së Re, të na takoni dhe ju me dhe ju përshëndesim dhe ju falenderojmë nga zemra. Këshilli për mbrojtjen e drejtave dhe të lirive të njerëzit dhe të lirive të Kosovës, me këtë rast ju duhet ju them një disa fjalë lidhe me punën e tij. Lënda me të cilën merret Këshilli ynë është e bollshme, sepse për fat keq autonomia e krahinës Kosovës që e gëzonte brenda viteve 74 deri 89 i u hoq asaj krejtësisht. Me heqjen e autonomisë Kosovës, krahinën e plakosën 2 liga, 2 të këqija, mbi bazën e kontrollit që mori Republika e Serbisë mbi gjithë punët e krahinës shqiptarët u goditun nga 2 anë, një herë si etni, pastaj edhe si individ. Aparati represiv i Republikës së Serbisë zuri të gjuaj disa pika nevralgjike ekonomike, duke pezulluar nga puna kuadrat shqiptare që punonin më smiri. Si që janë për shembull gjigantet, trepqa, elektroekonomia e tjera. Dhuna e represalet kanë vazhduar edhe më. Kohën e fundit, me pëlqimin e organeve gjese të Republikës në shkollat fillore e të mese, ka filluar të përdoret segregacioni, do thotë ndarja e nxënësve shqiptar e serb, pra ka zënë të përdoret apartheidi, që do thotë transferohet nga kontinenti i nxehtë afrikan në kontinentin e plak të Evropës në Kosovën tonë. Ndarja famkeqe e shkolla, kjo ndarja famkeqe e shkollave, veç për shqiptarë dhe veç për jo shqiptarë, solli helmimin e nxënësve shqiptarë me substanca të dyshimta. Shkenca shqiptare dhe ajo objektivja konstatoj se ishte fjala për helmime, shkenca tjetër, helmimet e nxënësve shqiptar i quajti simulime, që do të thotë sikur po shtireshin, si po gënjenin. Ka disa muaj që edhe në Kosovën ka zënë të fryjnë era që sjellin demokraci, që shpihen në demokraci, barazi, në partit. Partitë tona opozitare të Kosovës luftojnë për statusin e barabartë të shqiptarëve me të gjithë popujt e tjerë të Kosovës, por për zgjedhje të lira, të gëzojnë të drejtën të zgjedhjen përfaqësuesit e tyre në organet qeverisë krahinore të Kosovës edhe të federatës, e jo të imponohet popullet ata që si do, sepse se meritojnë. Jemi sigur se e drejta do të triumfojë. Falenderojmë Komitetin e Lidhjes Shqiptar-Amerikane që ka pasur mirësinë nga dëgjoj, të nga dërgoj një ftesë që një grup nga udhëheqjeve të partive alternative e të Këshillit për Drejtat e Njerëzit në Kosovës, me qëllim që në Washington, në qytetin e demokracisë, të dëgjohet zëri neve përpjekës për ngallënimin e demokracisë e të drejtave të lirive të njeriut edhe në Kosovën tonë. Faleminderit.
Now let me introduce someone else, very esteemed, who I heard so much about, who I tried to see when I was in Pristina, but somehow we couldn't get in touch with each other. And I was so happy that he was one of the honorees to come here. He is an academician, and he is a very distinguished, independent intellectual. He is Dr. Recep Çoşa.
Dua të drejtohem vetëm ju, vëllezërve e motrave të mallit tim. Dua të përshëndes vetëm në emrin tim dhe dua të flas shkurt, se shkrimtarët I thonë me libra edhe ato që do t'i thoshin në tribuna. Megjithse prej qershorit vitit kaluar, kam pasur disa thirrje që të vi këtu e të mbaj disa ligjërata për pozitën e shqiptarëve në Jugosllavi, ja, më në fund mu bën mundshme tani të jam për herë të parë midis jush. S'ka mund të vi, sa do kam dëshiruar të shoh Shtetet e Bashkuara të Amerikës djetin e demokracisë moderne. S'ka mundur të vi, sa do kam dëshiruar pa mas t'ju shoh ju, protagonistët e emergjimeve moderne. Kom dëshiruar t'ju shoh e t'ju njoh, sepse një mall të veçantë e kom pasur gjithmonë për ju. Një mall që I thonë mall për vëllezërit dhe motrat që kanë shkuar pa I parë. Shumica prej jush këtu sigurisht jetojnë më mirë. Më mirë besoj se ne atje. Pavarësisht pse jetojnë mirë, por unë gutë ta them, ta thuash ti, e kom thonu, jo të kënaqur. Ju duroni këtu dhembjet të dyfisht. Ju dhamin dhembjet që kemi ne atje. Dhe ju dhamin dhembjet pse jeni larg prej vatrës së lindjes dhe prej nesh. Nuk besoj se askush prej nesh mund të jetë indiferent ndaj të vërtetës së këtij. Pse them kështu? Them kështu, sepse ju jeni ajo pjesa më e mirë, e më e shëndosh e trupit shqiptar, që është larguar prej tij me fajin tonë. Ne nuk u kemi dhënë punën dhe nuk u kemi dhënë lirin. Ne në të vërtet, su kemi dhënë ato për të cilat s'kemi mund të vendosim vetë. Su kemi dhënë punën që se kemi pasur të sigurt as vetë, dhe su kemi dhënë lirin që kur se kemi pasur vetë. Por, kjo as ne nuk na çfajson. Për fajën ndërkaq, s'dua të flas sonte, sepse unë dëshiroj që prej tashit fajet të harrohen një herë për gjithmonë. Të harrohen fajet dhe të mposhten dallimet që atë gjatë na kanë munduar. Ju jeni larguar prej nesh, por ne kemi ardhur të ju, tu të tregojmë se nuk lejojmë të jetoni të ndarë prej nesh. Ju jeni pjesa e jonë, pa të cilën nuk duam kurse si të jemi, sepse vetëm bashk jemi më të fortë, sepse vetëm bashk jemi më të sigurt, sepse vetëm bashk mund ta bëjmë siç duam ardhmërinë tonë. E keni pasur gjithmonë kujtimin dhe mallin tim. Dinje se e keni përgjithmonë zemrën time.
The next one I'm going to introduce is someone that had the courage to meet me twice in Pristina. He is the chairman of the Pristina branch of the Union for the Yugoslav Democratic Initiative. His name is Mr. Vetan Soroy.
Speaker to the two speakers here. One to the video and one to the video.
Bashkëdhëtar, bashkëqytetar dhe bashkombës. Mr. DioGuardi, I am very pleased to be here tonight. I'm very pleased to have seen Mr. Lantos also. It has been said in ancient times that if you want to have the Rome